Today we're going to learn how to use After Effects for color correction. We've got a very powerful tool created by a plugin created by Synthetic Aperture, which is called SA Color Finesse. So let's begin by bringing in the girl plus arrow comp and make sure that we are set at 32-bit float. And now we will drag in Color Finesse into that layer, and we will click the full interface. This is what Color Finesse looks like, and so let's go over all the different options that it has. First, let's look at all the reference monitors that we have available to us. First up is the Waveform Monitor, which measures luminance, black being 0 and pure white being 100%. And if we check this out, we see that there's just one little ping of pure white and one little bit of pure black, and so we'll correct that. Let's take a look at the RGB waveform monitor, and you're going to see that our blue, we've got way more blue than our green and our red, and that's because my color balance was off on the camera when I shot this. And so ultimately we need to change the color temperature of this shot in order to make everything look not so cold. We've got a vector scope, which is if we were shooting a color chart, we could line up the red, green, blue, the cyan, yellow, and magenta. And this line is the skin color line, and so when we color correct for skin, no matter what race, we want to line it up along this scale here. Histograms work just like the levels control in After Effects, and we've got curves as well. Last, we have a gallery of presets like film stocks that are pretty fun to use, and I'm also a big fan of the two processing, bleach, pie pass, and cross processing, so we can goof around with those later. But for right now, we'll go back into the combo mode. Over here in the viewer, we can review our results, we can review our original source. If we've loaded a reference, we could look at that. This is a really great one because we can see the before and after once we start doing that, and it'll also allow us to look at the luma ranges. You can play the footage from here. It's going to go slow like an unrendered footage, but we can also click and drag left and right to scrub through the footage. Okay, so let's set it up so we got both people to watch. Now the first thing that we want to do is we want to adjust our black and our white levels, and we want to adjust that luminance, which will be red right here. So click on RGB, click on Master, and then we will make sure that we're in RGB 8-bit float. And then we're going to take the color picker. The first thing we're going to do is we are going to pick a black source. So we'll pick something right there. I'm going to hold down Shift so that we're picking more than one pixel. And we will see here in our color monitor that this is what the values we get. This is before and this will be after, and we want to zero those bad boys out. So we'll just bring red down till it's 0, and you don't want to go too far because I'm going to keep dragging the red pedestal left and left and left and left, and it still says 0 because it's not going to give us any negative numbers. So we just want to drag it to the left until it says 0. I drag to the right to make sure that it really means it, and now that's a good point. I'm going to do the same thing with the green pedestal. I'm going to drag right and back left again. That's 0. I'm going to do the same thing with the blue pedestal. Okay, it's already looking better. Now let's adjust our whites. Color picker. We'll pick this white area here. I'm going to hold down the Shift button, and we want to set these values all as close to 99 or 100. Okay, and we'll do that by using the gain. So first we'll pull up the red gain, we'll pull down the green gain, and we'll pull down the blue gain. Alright, so let's take a look at our RGB waveform monitor, and we'll see that everything is much more equal. The image now is a little too warm, which is why we've got all this bonus red in here. And so now let's white balance. We've set our black and our white level, so now let's white balance our mid-range. And we'll do that by playing with curves. So we'll turn on curves, and we've got these color pickers here that are choose the black, choose gray, choose white, and we are going to choose the gray point, and we are going to find a gray image here, and I'm going to hold down shift to get a color picker, and I'm just going to click on this kind of, we've got gray here, we've got gray here. I'm going to pick this gray here in the shadow and see what we get. I'm going to reset it, and let's pick the gray area here and see what it looks like. Reset. Let's pick the gray area up here and see what it looks like. That is too weird. And let's pick this gray area. This is the one I like the best. The skin tone looks the most natural. Let's go to our vector scope, and we see that our skin tone is kind of lining up here in this range, which is good. So that's a good start. Now, last thing that I want to do, and I bet you some color correction people are going to cringe when they tell me, when I tell you to do this. What we're going to do is we're going to suck out all the saturation out of the highlights so that we get a pure white. And then we're going to do the same thing to the shadows so that we get a pure black. Okay. And now we're in the midtones, we will just boost that saturation in the middle until we get it to where we want it to look again. Okay. Now let's look at our split source. And this is our before and this is our after. And we can even move it slightly this way if we want to see how it looks on our girl. Okay. And so I'm going to claim that this is our starting point. And now we've kind of established what's normal, and now we can go in and color correct everything we want. The next shot that I want to do, because there's a daylight shot, now let's pick a moodier shot, and so we will drag Devil's Paint, Green Hall in the shot. Devil's Paint is the award-winning short being produced here at the University of Oklahoma. And when I say award-winning, it's gotten my award of best short film ever. Alright? So let's go ahead and drag Color Finesse into this comp. And we'll get back into the full interface. And so basically you can see how green it is, and I think for the story, being green helps tell our story in this space. But let's go ahead and white balance it out just to show what we can do when we're dealing with basically in this space we're using tungsten and fluorescent lights. So we will go into RGB, we will pick the master, and we will first set our black level. So we'll take our color picker, and I'm going to hold down shift, and we'll pick this black, and we'll see that it's pretty good. We just need to pull down the green pedestal just a hair. Okay. And now we need a white reference. So let's first start by picking the white up here. And then we will push up. No, I'm sorry, not pedestal, gain. We need to push up the gain for white. We'll set it at 99. We'll do the green gain. And we'll do the blue gain. And let's take a look at our RGB waveform monitor. So it's a pretty dark scene, dark and moody, so we don't have a lot of white references, which is fine. Next, let's set our curves and try to white balance this out. So we'll pick our middle point, and I'm gonna, let's see what happens. And so by calling that our middle gray, we've basically leveled out all of our colors. They're pretty even now, so we've got a pretty good look at white balance. Let's scrub to the right and see what our actors look like. Here they are as they enter from frame right. Okay, so we've got some nicely lit human references. Let's go back into hue and saturation. Let's pull all the saturation out of the whites and all the saturation out of the blacks, and we'll push our saturation back up in our mid-range until it looks the way we want. We don't want the red shirt to be too distracting to our story. But we've got an evil creature rolling out of here, so if we can get our red shirt and those to be in the same world, we can kind of connect the foreground and the background a little bit. So that looks really good. And then we'll scrub down. Actually, let's see if we can play this out. I have a feeling something bad is really gonna happen now, and here it comes. You can tell by the dolly shot it can't be good. So let's scrub down, take a look, and it's our feral mime. Ooh, I'm scared. So that's what we want to see for this shot.